Unfortunately, over the past couple of years, we have seen a lot of our franchises be absolutely destroyed by activists who want to push their own personal political agendas into the content we consume, and Tomb Raider has definitely seen a modern overhaul, but it looks like we are getting a little bit of a win because the tabletop RPG has been scrapped after these activist designers have alienated their core fan base. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, when we initially heard about this Tomb Raider tabletop RPG, I think we all visibly cringed because of some of the character designs and the story that they were going with. Unfortunately, this was not supposed to be a faithful tabletop game for real Tomb Raider fans. It was supposed to be for the modern audience. The guidebook had confirmed that Crystal Dynamics was working to apologize for the franchise's colonialist origins, so absolute BS. But now we're finding out that this has been canceled. Boy, oh boy, it feels good to win. It says Evil Hat Productions was developing a Tomb Raider tabletop RPG, but now reports are coming in that the project has been canceled. Tomb Raider is a beloved video game property as an action-adventure IP, something that is ripe for the picking for a tabletop RPG iteration of the game. If this had actually come out and it had been good, it had cool character designs and a fun story, and it felt like Tomb Raider, I definitely would have went out of my way to purchase it. I buy so many different products for this channel and for the set so that I can enjoy, so that I can show them off, and just so that I can support the developers and the designers, because I do want to support people who are making good content, but there was no freaking way I was going to monetarily support some slop like this. And I know most people felt the same way when this had initially blown up. I believe it was in like May of 2024. People were disgusted with this, disappointed with this, just generally not interested in this product. And well, it seems that that interest didn't exist from any audience, and it just goes to show that, again, the modern audience doesn't exist, and the small group of people that could even be considered the modern audience, which are really just sensitive snowflakes on social media, don't monetarily support products. So it says the gaming company Crystal Dynamics licensed their property to Evil Hat Productions, a company known for their activism rather than the quality products. Crystal Dynamics over the past couple of years has definitely tried to turn Lara Croft into a new modern, like, feminist icon. Of course, in the modern trilogy, they completely redesigned her, and in the movie with Alicia Vikander, I thought that she did a pretty good job, but it still was very clearly supposed to be a new iteration of Lara Croft. And we also know that Amazon is supposed to be producing the live action adaptation. It's been 5 years now, and Phoebe Waller-Bridge has made over $100 million from Amazon, and there still isn't a script. There's no official casting, so who knows the state of that, though that would still probably be a modern live action series because Phoebe Waller-Bridge is a raging fucking feminist. Regardless, though, Evil Hat Productions signed the infamous Gamers for Harris list last year. Yeah, because that's how you get me to take you seriously. One gamer called them total communists when talking about how the company is known for their extremist political agendas. When rumors of the project first surfaced with the concept art from Evil Hat, fans were tepid on the project. It came out quickly that the lead writer was an individual named Ray, a self-described Filipino-Algerian and as queer as you would expect. His ex said he/they. And he also talked about how he's queer, trans, masc, and disabled. Let's just throw every, like, label at the wall. I think that it's funny that these people say that they want to break out of, like, a predetermined box, or like the box that society would put them in. And then all they really do is just go and label themselves, which really just enforces the, like, societal problems they feel exist. Whatever. Also working on the project was an individual named April, who wrote the game Thirsty Sword Lesbian, who has pronouns in her bio and that say she/her or gay/gem. Yeah, guys, because a thing called Thirsty Sword Lesbians is definitely what people want to consume. But with such designers being affiliated with this project, it was obvious that there were going to be problems. Now, I say this all the time. I should not have to hear about your personal political stance. I should not have to hear about your sexuality or your identity. If you are good at your job, I won't even be able to know who you really are. I wouldn't start playing a game and go, oh yeah, these people are activists. These people clearly, I don't know, think Orange Man is bad. These people clearly wanted to make a statement on a certain movement that's going on in the real world. Like, I should not see any of that seeping into the product I'm consuming. But unfortunately, that is very often the case now. And that's what's so sad, because I would like anybody to be able to create any sort of product. I shouldn't have to agree with every single stance you have about the real world in order to consume your content, though these people make it impossible to enjoy what they're creating because ultimately they're just creating slop. It says, though, Crystal Dynamics announced that they would be ending the collaboration over creative differences, which is certainly because the Tomb Raider fanbase didn't take well to the woke activism skin suit of the Tomb Raider franchise, but the story has deeper elements. An insider close to the company spoke exclusively with Fandom Pulse, saying that there was a free-to-play Tomb Raider tabletop RPG already developed, done internally at Crystal Dynamics by a now former employee. Despite this, Crystal Dynamics ignored their employees' work and went to Evil Hat Productions to develop it anyway. The author actually offered to use his free version and help Evil Hat create a non-woke version, but was shot down in the process. Evil Hat wanted the woke version, according to our insider. Now, I do, of course, think that a company like Crystal Dynamics probably always has a lot going on because they want to find as many ways as possible to make money. But on the flip side, they are greenlighting all of the wrong things, right? They're not trying to actually make content that their customer base wants. They're too worried about modernizing and ultimately apologizing for the franchise's quote unquote colonialist origins. This, of course, was a ridiculous piece of the puzzle that we, of course, had found out last year. But in the latest instance of the Western video game industry's incessant obsession with unnecessary virtue signaling, the guidebook for Shadows of Truth, the tabletop RPG, has revealed that current franchise developer Crystal Dynamics is actively working to both apologize for and distance the series from its colonialist roots. And they thought that this was the set of 4 characters that was gonna be able to do that. These 4 characters were so stunning and brave, they'd be able to change the industry, they'd be able to change this franchise's, roots, and yikes. That's all that I can really say to this. These character designs are fucking tragic. Okay, the fact that they wanted to apologize for the franchise's origins is absurd, because if you're so offended by the franchise's origins, stop using the franchise. Move away from it. If it's so offensive, if it's so terrible, stop using it. It's like with H.P. Lovecraft. We see adaptations of H.P. Lovecraft's work, but then the people that are working on the modern adaptation say, oh, he was such a terrible person. I hate him. I can't believe he existed. So why are you using his work? Oh yeah, that's right, because at the end of the day, you don't have a creative bone in your fucking body and you have to steal someone else's work and readapt it in order to make a few bucks. That is absolutely pathetic, and that's why I do not support people like this, because if it's so offensive, if it's so terrible, if it's so bothersome, you should just abandon it, but Crystal Dynamics won't, because they know that it will make money, and that's why I have absolutely no respect for them at this point in time, and it's why so many other people just view them as a joke at this point, because you just can't take a company seriously when they want to completely modernize and reboot a franchise that in the past has made them a boatload of cash. And as a Tomb Raider fan, of course, I'm sad to hear this, because I want good Lara Croft products, but you're not respecting her. You're not respecting the original creators. I mean, in a lot of their promotional images, they didn't even put Lara Croft. Of course, she's on the front of the book, or she was supposed to be on the front of the book if it actually came out and existed. Besides that, they weren't really trying to use her in those promo images. So at the end of the day, you get what you fucking deserve. When you create a piece of awful content that absolutely nobody seems interested in, you're not going to make any money off of that. And people on X, of course, are wrecking these people. You don't say. The tabletop role-playing game Shadows of Truth has been canceled by Evil Hat Productions following creative differences with Crystal Dynamics. Now, do not think that this means Crystal Dynamics is completely changing. I don't want anybody to take it that way, like, oh my God, they're kicking the activists to the curb. No. Maybe in 5 years, when Crystal Dynamics has put out a ton of new Lara Croft content, we would be able to see a pattern of them changing, but I don't really think that this boils down to them changing their internal philosophy. Do not put your trust in them, because they will just throw it away and they will disrespect you as a fan. That is the unfortunate truth about so many of these situations now. You cannot straight up trust the companies that are controlling what is a lot of people's favorite franchise. Now, if you go to the Infinity Tomb Raider fan account dedicated to the franchise, they were actually one of the first to post this over on X. And well, they of course are hiding responses, and it just doesn't look like they want people to be going, wow, you don't say. Go woke, go broke, now arrest them for treason. Everything woke turns to shit. These are the responses that got hit, and they're not even that bad, but they, of course, are getting absolutely wrecked, just like Evil Hat is, like Crystal Dynamics is. And I'm not going to shed a tear for these people and all of the mean words that are being said about them on social media. So I will be keeping my eye on this to see if any of these activists come out. I'm sure that at least one or two of them will end up complaining about this and how hard they worked and how passionate the team was, but I don't think anybody was going to buy this, and Crystal Dynamics figured, you know what, we might as well just cancel this slop before it actually damages our image and more people know about it. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.